All right, and we're live again, guys. I'm going to let a couple people know that I'm live. All right, we just saw a crazy, crazy fight right there with a beautiful rear naked triangle finish. Beautiful stuff. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I got a couple of friends that said that they were going to tune into the chat tonight, so let's see if they actually show up. That was a beautiful rear naked strangle finish in the last fight. Damn it, what are their names again? The fight just happened, I already forgot their names. Let me see here. Um, UFC fights tonight. It was Alexandre Pantoja versus Alex Perez. And Alexandre Pantoja came in with a beautiful rear naked strangle victory on the back take while they were in the standing position. So, guys, they're showing some crazy stuff with Volkanovski right here. But anyway, on that rear naked strangle finish, when you have someone fully locked in on that rear naked strangle, before probably within the last year or two, they've updated the finishing mechanics on that rear naked strangle. So before, it was just a slow, steady squeeze that you wanted to increase that slow, steady squeeze over time. But with the Danaher Death Squad and the modern day applications of the rear naked strangle, there's an element where you want to take the strangle and you want to turn with the strangle to create a rotational finish to finish that rear naked choke. And when you have that rotational finish, the strangle is going to be much more effective and more powerful. And like you saw there, the strangle was over the jaw, the hand was on the head. It had a lot of technical imperfections, but with the updated rotational finish, you could finish a lot of people, and you don't actually need to have that perfect technique. So they're showing some crazy Derrick Lewis knockouts. I'm a big Derrick Lewis fan. Some of his famous terms are jiu-jitsu doesn't work, just get up, which I love. There's a certain truth and understanding in what he's saying that, oh, Liam Coleman, when is walkout? Liam, thank you so much for your comment. I much appreciate it. The Derrick Lewis fight is happening in the next couple minutes here. They're just doing a couple little montages before they walk out, and they should be walking out soon. There's 3 more fights on the card. It's going to be Derrick Lewis, the Brandon Moreno fight, and then after that is the Juliana Pena fight. But the truth is, Liam, no one really knows when the fights are going to happen, because you could get a almost instantaneous submission victory like you did in the last one. So I hope that answered your question, Liam. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate the comment. Anyway, like I was saying, guys, on that last rear naked strangle victory, when people would go before on the rear naked strangle and they would just squeeze with this squeezing finish, a lot of times they would just burn their arms out because it would be slow, steady pressure over a longer period of time. And if the strangle wasn't efficient, where it was kind of on the jaw and not completely underneath the neck, then they would squeeze for so long that their arms would burn out. And I've definitely been in that situation. And I've tried to finish black belts before when I was less experienced with that squeeze strangle of the rear naked strangle, and I burned my arms out and they're still conscious. And then you're fighting a black belt with burnt out arms that you can't use. So that's a complete nightmare. But the updated version, like the gentleman, I forgot his name again, Alexandre Pantoja, incorporated that rotational finish into his rear naked strangle. And even though it was on the jaw, it was enough to get the job done. So we got, let's see, Sergei. These names are tough, guys. Forgive me. These names are tough. We got Sergei Pavlovich coming out right now. Looks like Herb Dean is the referee. A lot of controversy surrounding Herb Dean. A lot of people say he's the gold standard of refereeing because he's probably the most experienced referee in the game. But if you watch, who is it? Dan Hardy has a great video on YouTube breaking down Herb Dean's refereeing and how he feels Herb Dean does a horrible job. There was even an instance where they got into it where Dan Hardy was commentating and he was yelling at Herb Dean to stop the fight because he felt that it was a way, way, way too late stoppage. And he made a really good case that Herb Dean's refereeing was not up to the standard that it should be, and that the idea of that he's the gold standard in refereeing because he's been doing it forever was a nonsense title based on nothing and made no sense. And you know what? I think he had a point. I mean, he showed fight after fight after fight where Herb Dean didn't do the greatest job in refereeing, and then he showed the careers of the people after that fight, and he showed how their career was on a downturn because they got beaten up so bad in the fight previously. So it's a compelling video. If you want, check it out. Dan Hardy breaks down Herb Dean's refereeing. But man, you know, that refereeing job is a thankless job. Whatever kind of refereeing you're doing, especially in combat sports, everyone is going to complain. Everyone's going to hate you. And everyone's going to have their own opinions on whether your refereeing was correct or not. So I wish I was able to play the sound on this, but they will copyright me if I start playing the sound. So I can't play it. So if there's any interesting developments, guys, you got to throw it in the chat. Throw it in that chat. Derrick Lewis coming out. You know, it should be interesting to see Derrick Lewis because his last fight, I believe, was with Tai Tuivasa, and he got knocked out in that fight. And I just wonder where his head's at. He's been known to kind of underperform when his head is not in the right place. And the cut man, I'm friends with the guy on Instagram. His name's Brad Tate. And super awesome cut man. I love the way that he wraps his hands. Oh, Caleb throwing a picture of me in the chat. Hey, and my dad's here. Get back on my live UMFers. All right. Ken Shaloya, thank you so much for commenting. Nice to see you. It's going to be Derrick Lewis versus Sergei Pavlovich. Am I saying the name right? Only God knows. So, Derrick Lewis looking a little freaky. I think this fight is in Texas, actually, which is interesting information. Because Derrick Lewis has fought in Texas before, and he's lost in Texas before, and he said that he feels a lot of pressure being in his own hometown. So we shall see. We shall see. Derrick Lewis is the knockout king, and he is crowned with the most knockout victories in the entire heavyweight division, and even his chest tattoo says the knockout king. All right, the tail of the tape, Derrick Lewis is 37. He's the oldest fighter on the card. Ouch that they put that stat in there versus the 30-year-old Sergei. They're both 6'3". Derrick Lewis weighing in at 264. Sergei weighing in at 254. And Derrick Lewis with a 79-inch reach and Sergei with an 84-inch reach. That might be the longest reach in the entire UFC. I mean, I can't think of anyone who has longer than 84-inch reach. I think John Jones is 83 and a half or something, or maybe it's 84. That is a long reach. It's interesting too that Sergei came in at 254, and Derrick Lewis literally needs to cut weight to make the limit. The weight limit in the heavyweight division of the UFC is 265 pounds, and Derrick Lewis needs to drop weight to get to 265. He weighed in at 264 for this fight, and he's the underdog for this one, which is kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy. I think Derrick Lewis should be higher ranked than that. We shall see. We shall see. If you want to check out Derrick Lewis's Instagram, he's got one of the funniest Instagrams out there, where I think he coined the famous phrase "he's okay," where he shows horrible accidents that happen to people, and no matter what happens, he puts that he's okay or she's okay. I think that's Dan Mergliotta, I want to say, as the referee. I don't know. I just saw him pop up. It looks like it's not going to be Herb Dean. And the fighter, he says, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And round one begins right now. They touch gloves in the center of the octagon, both coming out in the orthodox stance. A nice leg kick Derrick Lewis threw on Sergei Pavlovich. Maybe I'm adding an extra P in there that does need to be added. Derrick Lewis ranked number 5 in the world. Sergei ranked number 11. And Sergei cutting off the octagon here. It's always good to be the one with more octagon behind you. Chess masters, they take the center of the board, and UFC fighters, they want to control the center of the octagon. Oh, big hook punches on Derrick Lewis's head here. Oh, crazy, crazy punches here. This might be it. This is a crazy flurry from Sergei. Derrick Lewis is down, and that's it. The whole fight's over. That's it. Crazy knockout victory. A couple seconds into the first round, Derrick Lewis is protesting the stoppage with the referee. Really upset with that stoppage. But, Derrick Lewis was down, turtle position, not good. Not good. Crazy, crazy result. Those are 2 fights, guys, that got decided really, really fast. Man, tough night at the office for Derrick Lewis. All right, let's watch the replay right here. Crazy hook behind the ear. Oh, and a nice hit to the jaw, and then behind the ear again. And then an uppercut. Kind of a wild exchange here. My goodness. And then, as soon as Derrick Lewis got down to that turtle position, the referee stopped the fight. Well, is it an early stoppage? I mean, Derrick Lewis does this thing where he just lays face down. And you can't just be laying face down in the middle of the fight, especially when your head is literally right there for your opponent and the guy's trying to tee off on your head. I'd say maybe it was an early stoppage in the sense that Derrick Lewis wasn't knocked out or KO'd, but that's not the definition of a stoppage. You stop the fight when the fighter is no longer intelligently defending himself, and Derrick Lewis was not intelligently defending himself. So this isn't good for Derrick Lewis and his career. He's going to have to win a couple fights to be back into title contention. And at 37, he doesn't have a lot of time to win all these fights and get back into it. TP, Derrick Lewis gets KO'd. That's it. Wow, says Ken Shaloya. Yep, that's it. Derrick Lewis did get knocked down. Joe Rogan on the interview, and it looks like the guy needs a translator. I wish I could hear it, but if I played it, YouTube copyrights this whole video. So what are you going to do? Well, I hate to only be on for 15 short minutes here, guys, but I'm going to end this live stream, and then I'll be back for the co-main and the main event. Much love, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you in a minute. Please make sure to tune in for the co-main and the main event.